They weren't to know that the protests would continue to intensify and that their world was about to change irrevocably. The stakes are high for the WTO's new Director General, Mike Moore. He's determined that the show will go on.
This conference will be a success. The issues are far too important to be ignored.
3,500 journalists from all over the world are here. They came to cover trade, but for many the really big issues are environment and the widening gulf between rich world and poor.
Latest estimates suggest that the world's richest 225 people have a combined wealth equal to the annual income of the poorest 47% of the world's people.
The WTO and rich countries say unfettered trade will automatically make the poor richer. But a United Nations study says that while the rich will get hundreds of billions of dollars richer, Africa will become $1.2 billion poorer every year.
Excuse me, we've got to clear this area.
Mike Moore has promised poor countries a fair deal.
We can't have a level playing field here between developing countries and industrialized countries?
We can only balance it a bit more. That's our ambition. That's our ambition.
Do you feel under siege by the protests outside?
No, not at all.
How about the NGO?
He's scheduled to hold a joint news conference with the head of the UN's Environment Agency, which has brokered a whole portfolio of international agreements protecting the environment.
It's not on, under our rules, for one country to demand from another higher environmental standards than they demand.
In international trade disputes, the WTO has so far ruled in favour of trade over environment every single time. But democratically?
Business. There is this contradiction which I keep reading, that somehow we're undemocratic, yet it is a ministerial conference, ministers responsible to governments, responsible to their public. I think that we are in pretty good shape, far better than you would think.
Mike Moore says the World Trade Organization and the UN Environment Programme will work hand in glove. But UNEP's Klaus Topfer navigates with great care, choosing to strike a conciliatory tone with the demonstrators.
We must try whatever is possible to link the concerns of those on the streets with the negotiations here. One is with regard to the environment. We have to prove that this is not green protectionism, but this is the precondition for economic development in the future as well.
Future economic growth, he says, must be built on environmental sustainability, which the WTO is accused of ignoring.
The World Trade Organization should not be able to interfere with the efforts of UNEP, of the United Nations Environment Programme. You take preventative action before damage starts to occur to the environment, you anticipate the damage, and you take action before the damage is taking place. But the WTO would like us to take action only once the damage has started, and this is really wrong.
You're not coming through here.
How do I get to work then?
Out on the streets, battle lines are now clearly drawn. The protesters know their agenda. It's simply to derail the talks.
The chemical irritants may be used. This is your final warning. Please move to the north, peacefully and voluntarily. And there's 10,000 people behind us.
Within 10 days, Seattle's police chief would be forced to resign.
Tear gas.
God damn, this is a world that should be equal, and it's not equal right now.
The tear gas and pepper spray deployed by police as delegates try to break through, a portent of the poisoned atmosphere that's beginning to infect the trade talks themselves. It's not looking good for the WTO. A Seattle paper quotes a local professor. This bears the hallmarks, he says, of the cause of a new generation, just as the Vietnam War, the peace movement and anti-apartheid were in decades gone by.
Are you having problems breathing? I need to know. I can't breathe. Hang on. All right, I've got to get this off your skin, all right? Yeah. This is going to hurt, but it's going to feel better when it's done. Yeah, I need a little bit of that too, I'm afraid.
Facing escalating chaos, the mayor of Seattle declares a civil emergency, imposes a curfew and calls in the National Guard.
You're supposed to arrest. You can't punish.
If peaceful demonstrators rule the day, anarchist mobs rule the night, hijacking and discrediting the demonstrators' cause.
Tonight, as the core of downtown cools, the nation's commander-in-chief is preparing to fly into the middle of the firestorm.
Word out of Washington, D.C., President Clinton has just gone on record saying that he strongly believes that we should open this process up to all of those who are demonstrating on the outside. He says they should be part of it, and he thinks that it would strengthen the role.
He is very sympathetic to WTO protesters. The president will meet with trade ministers tomorrow morning.
Earth Report has meanwhile been busy negotiating unprecedented access to the trade negotiators themselves. In the cold light of a new day, Earth Report finally gets behind the closed doors. Today we will meet the delegation from Kenya, a developing country that was to play a pivotal role in the drama about to unfold. But first, a delegation from an industrialized country, Australia.
Well, I'm Mark Vaile, Australia's Trade Minister from the Australian Government, here representing Australia's national interest as a member of the WTO.
The protesters are now kept well out of sight, if not out of mind. Mark Vaile heads into an official WTO committee meeting. We briefly managed to sneak in after him, before being unceremoniously expelled. The Australian Trade Minister is already frustrated. He does not want to see these talks scuppered by ceding too high a priority to environmental issues.
The issue of the environment is one that we take very seriously. I mean, Australia has a very good track record as far as environmental management is concerned. I just don't believe these issues should be taking a central focus. We want to maintain the focus on seeing a sound set of trading rules established.
135 trade ministers are attending the Seattle summit. We now arrange to spend some time with a senior delegate who hails from a continent accounting for just 1% of global trade. Africa feels aggrieved. And Kenya wants to help lift the veil on what's going on inside the WTO.
My name is Kipkorir Ali Azad Rana.
Got 2 tall olays coming.
I am from western part of Kenya.
Sorry, I'll get that milk.
I am educated in the United States, and I am Kenya's ambassador to WTO and also Kenya's ambassador to United Nations in Geneva and United Nations in Vienna.
Ambassador Rana is on his way to a pre-meeting meeting of the Kenyan delegation.
Kenya is the chair of African delegations to WTO.
Who else is with you?
African nations want better market access and resent the rich world's negotiating style here.
There are areas in which definitely we need some more transparency. We are not happy with the backroom negotiations.
With Africa refusing to play ball with the US and Europe, negotiations grind to a standstill, and Dr. Rana goes online to gauge press reaction back home.
We are right now stalled in our discussions because the rich countries are refusing to remove subsidies from agriculture sector. You see, they are the ones. We have virtually removed all subsidies from our agriculture. We feel very, very strongly that this is going against the whole spirit of World Trade Organization.
So indignant are African delegations about the way things are going that they've convened a meeting of African ministers to agree a joint position.
You can imagine the sort of questions that old Frantic will be asking.
The Australian minister too is concerned about opinion at home. He's booked for a live slot with a breakfast TV show back in Sydney.
Yeah, that's all right. There's a bit of snow there. Get out, sir.
Yeah, I can hear the feed coming through from Australia, yeah. Hi, Steve, how are you? Well, it's still cold and wet today, and it was cold and wet last night and yesterday, but certainly emotions were heated and running very high. And again today, things are starting to heat up as we get down to the nitty-gritty of what we're here to do. Thank you, Steve. Always a pleasure.
Now it's back to the hotel where President Clinton is hosting a ministerial lunch.
It is truly my greatest